Oh, that's interesting.
Vals Pals. Couldn't make it worse, could you, if you tried? How are we doing this afternoon? Great, let's spoil that for you. I'd like to welcome, I guess I'm going to get them all up at once. I'm going to invite, in the order that we'll be chatting to them, save your applause till the end, Gary Rose, Lisa Little, Nick King and Anna Laplow. Far more fun to have them all up at once, then they can annoy each other. This is the sort of thing, after the evenings when we've done all the shows and everything, we go back to the, there's a room that we have hidden away, obviously, from normal people, and we just have lots of toast. Actually, that's as exciting as it gets. None of this, you know, drugs and rock and roll. It's just toast. And last night we had Lurpak put on with a spoon. I know, we know how to live it large. I know. So, I thought we'd have a bit of chit chat like we do. I'm going to ask them a few questions. I'm going to sit down first because I have a leather chair. I know. I know, it's quite often though. And I will give you an allowance to ask some questions if you want to. I will vet them. Because things like, I'll find out all the details, like are they free, available, all those important things. Well saved, all of that stuff. But after that, it's over to you if there's anything you want to ask them, because these are really great people. I'll just find them questions. So I'm going to start with Gary Rose. Gary Rose. Gary is looking after a very attractive photo of you there.
Thank you very much.
I was thinking today, I really wish I'd had a chance. Did any of you watch Graham Norton? He can be a bit naughty, but he does have that thing at the end where he can push the chair back, doesn't he? Yeah, glad I hadn't thought of that before. Gary, first New Horizon.
I know. Well, yes, it is.
How did that happen?
I don't know. You tell me. She asked me.
She asked you.
Lisa, the lovely Lisa.
That's marvellous.
No,
That's marvellous.
actually, it's kind of not my first.
Yeah, okay.
Because as a young lad, I used to come.
Yeah.
You know, when it was Butlins.
Yes.
At Skeggy and.
There you are. Butlins at Skeggy. Who's Butlins at Skeggy? Look at all of you. Yes.
Bogner was my first in.
Who's Butlins at Bogner? No.
1984.
1980. That's before my time.
Had a few girlfriends.
BMT I like to use. BMT before my time. Over to you, yeah?
Yeah, so it's not my first, but it's my first on staff, obviously.
I know.
And
How scary is he?
Yeah.
Who's in the band this morning? How out of 10?
Oh, 10? Look at that.
Oh, but you're just holy.
You see, his favourite funny player
Some
over there.
normal people. Out of 10, did he do alright? Yeah. What about male voices? One of you. How did you do for that?
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, just brilliant. That's blokes sticking together. Well
Cost me a fortune, these guys do.
So did you come with loads of music prepared for both, or are you waiting to see the calibre?
Well, I've had a few chats with certain people who've done this in the past, like Derek, who did it last year, did the band last year. Kane.
Oh yeah.
You know. Derek who? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he prepared a lot of the music for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's
which was
good.
amazing. Yeah, so I brought a little bit of music that I've been familiar with in the past. But mainly it's Derek's kind of.
Okay, Derek's choosing.
He's
so if you love the pieces, it's Gary's choice. If they're rubbish choices, let's blame Derek. Yeah. Let's just blame Derek all week, actually.
Yeah.
Right? Do you know the problem with the weather yesterday? You know whose fault that was? Derek's! Did anyone have an uncomfortable bed?
Derek.
Yeah, that's Derek. The heating's not working in my room. You know who's been meddling? Derek, right, okay.
Yeah.
Praise for the week already. Gary, if you weren't here, what would you be doing?
I'd be at work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I work at IHQ.
Ooh!
Yes, not to be mistaken with THQ.
Such a posh building.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Great food, and it's open to the public,
It
may I
is.
say.
There's a proper cafe that you're all welcome to. I can see Peter. Peter works at IHQ as well. It's great, isn't it?
IHQ, great food.
Yes. So I've been there
Not like Derek, his food's rubbish at THQ.
Sorry. I've been at IHQ for 17 years now.
No, you're hardly old enough.
I know. My wife's been there actually for 23 or 4 years.
Do you both work there?
Yes, we do.
Wow.
Well, I'm employed by them. I actually work at home, which is really nice. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So on his job, what do you do?
Well,
housework.
Yeah. Okay. Housework. Yeah. Put the muffins on every day, you know. Well, my first 16 years at IHQ were in the IT department.
Right.
If I go even further back, when I left school, I spent 3 years at college learning how to become a piano tuner.
Tuner? Gosh, everyone needs you in their address book, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Gary, do you want to come over for a meal? Oh, and the piano
Needs tuning, yeah.
Does everyone do that?
Yeah, occasionally, yeah.
Wow.
So I did that. I tuned pianos for about 10 years, and then moved to London and tried to become still a piano tuner in London, and it's crazy because there are so many piano tuners in London. So I got into IT and then got a job at HQ.
IT is?
Information technology, computers and all that stuff.
Thanks, just checking, not for me, for Derek.
And I did that for the last 16 years, but my last year has been quite amazing really, because I've kind of moved out of IT, and it's a long story. I moved out of IT and I'm now in the communications department at IHQ, making videos and arranging music to go with the videos, and it's been spectacular.
Dream job?
Absolutely dream job. Absolutely
Isn't that great? That's really good. Now Gary, can I just say, was involved in the new songbook. So if they're good choices and you love it, I was involved in it. If you're not too happy with some of the choices, that would have been the days that Gary was there. And if there's any problem with the arrangements, that's all down to Nick. Oh, Derek. Yeah. So, we'll talk to you about that this week. That was a really interesting process, because the first meeting we had, do you remember they went through the whole, I think we've only had about 5 songbooks, someone from the history will get me, every time, because I was a bit panicky about that, because I'm really precious. And I remember when the new one came out in '85, I thought I'd lost my brother. You know, it was awful, wasn't it? And then they always take out, they've gone through, they take out literally a quarter of the songbook, and then they put in 35%. So you get more, and you go and you think you can't lose them. And when we were doing the job, they said, just go through the songs with your head, not your heart. And I have to say, that made it much easier. So we'll have a chat later about some of the songs you're missing, but I think you'll find there's lots of good choices this time. Very pleased that we'll have a night that's just that, maybe. So Gary, now who's missing you this week?
No, probably nobody, but I think the right answer is my wife and my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm married to Suzanne. I kind of married into the name really because she's a Camsey, very famous army name. And we've been married for 12 years, last week actually.
Oh, that's nice.
We got married at Sunbury Court, which was also very nice. And we had a little boy 5 years ago, this May. He's starting school on Thursday this week.
And you're not there?
No, year 1.
Oh,
he did his preschool stuff last year, which he loved, absolutely loved it. But he starts year 1 on Thursday, so it's all very exciting for him. And I'm missing them, and they're missing me, I think.
Well, we're glad you're here with us today.
It's great.
I've got a couple of really deeply significant questions I'd like to ask you. Football or rugby?
Oh, football.
X Factor or Strictly?
Strictly.
Okay. It gives you an idea, doesn't it? If you're going to date this man, you need to know, don't you?
I can't dance.
Not that he's available. No, I think anyone that watches Strictly can't dance, but we just love watching it. Don't we going, that's rubbish, I can do much better. I hope they might call me one year. Swimming in a swimming pool or in the sea?
That's a tough one.
I know. Good question.
I think in the right climate, definitely the sea.
Right, yeah. And really, really deep. You can tell I was planning these late tonight. Strawberry jam or marmalade?
Strawberry jam.
Yeah. You get to know people, don't you? Right? If it was somebody like Marmite, love it or hate it?
Hate it.
Yes, they couldn't be with that man. How could you be with a non-Marmite lover? So you go to army?
Yes, I go to Corps Kettering, which is Kettering Arts there, yeah.
You'll verify or not everything you're saying.
Yeah, Suzanne and I moved to Kettering about 12 years ago when we got married.
Okay, where were you from before?
Well, my home is Clown, which is like half an hour from here. Yeah.
She's giving you directions just in case you don't know. She's just saying
up there, on that way. Yes. In fact, it's great being in Derbyshire. It's my home, it's lovely. Although I do talk a bit posh now. I don't know what happened there. Do I?
I said, no, you don't.
Okay.
They keep you humble here at New Horizons. It's our job.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I Clown and then moved to Croydon and then moved to Kettering. Been at Kettering with Suzanne, my wife, for 12 years. So.
And does that work? Is that good?
Yes. Yeah, we love it there. Like the old one, we need something extra special to happen to the Corps. I think we all do, but it is a great Corps, very friendly, very, as soon as we walked in, we felt at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you want.
And my question, which the only one I preambled them with, was what's God been doing in your life in the last little while? Something exciting.
Well, I've been thinking about it, and we've had Boundless and all that stuff, and that's been amazing. But I think my life has changed significantly in work over the last year or so. In fact, I felt for the last part of my IT work, for the last probably five or 6 years, I felt really frustrated in that I didn't feel I was doing the right thing for the mission. And it's been really tough because I see myself, maybe nobody else does, but I see myself as a bit of a musician. And I think what I can offer the mission is music and now video. But I've been so frustrated that I couldn't get out of IT. I tried a couple of times to do certain things. In fact, this time last year, I was that close to moving to Naples in Florida for a music job there. But then things changed at IHQ, and name dropping, the General got involved.
Sorry, who got involved? Is his name Derek?
Yes. And he kind of saw the vision of putting me in this creative role.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing now, and I love it. And God's timing is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's enough. You're going to sing to us. It's just like a show, isn't it? We'll just talk amongst ourselves while you go and join the band. Oh, while you go and sit at the piano. That's great. We are really, really privileged this week, because not just because they're the guests. I chose people I liked, actually. So there's only 4 of them. No, when they were saying about talking to people, I thought, actually, it needs to be people that I know-ish, that we can just sit and have a chat with. And but isn't that great? So they're all just going to do a little something, a little turn for you. Let's give them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you very well.
Thank you. I'm going to sing a song. Any Cliff Richard fans?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to sing a Cliff Richard song. Not as well as Cliff Richard, obviously. But I touched on the fact that I've been married for 12 years, and I kind of learned the hard way about relationships. And I found out that it's important that you put Christ in the centre of any relationship, whether it be friends, whether it be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever. And this is a song about that. It's called, I can't remember what it's called. It doesn't matter what it's called. If I said I loved you, what would you say? And if I said I needed you, would it frighten you away? If I said I loved you and I wanted you to be my one and only lover eternally, you and me and Jesus, Jesus, me and you, on our own we'd break, with Him we'll make it through. And Jesus, take us, make us what you want us both to be. I give myself to her, she gives herself to me. Love is really fragile, and if it's gonna last, we gotta start by giving Jesus future, present, past. I ache the way I love you, but baby, it's sink or swim. And when we look back years from now, we're gonna owe it all to Him. You and me and Jesus, Jesus, me and you, on our own we break, with Him we'll make it through. And Jesus, take us, make us what you want us both to be. I give myself to her, she gives herself to me, to me.
know Gary. Yeah, that's a good idea. Derek can't sing at all, can he? That was just beautiful. If you're very well behaved, how many of you have heard my Cliff Richard story? Oh, tonight. Sing along. You want to know about my date with Cliff? Yeah, I'm not telling you now, you can wait. Yeah, sorry? He sounded better than Cliff. I'll tell you, I promise you, I'll tell you that story. Remind me, and I'll try and tell you the shortened version, but it's good work. Lisa Little, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we're thrilled to have Lisa here, and you will have known and recognised she's been around over the years. You know when anyone ever looks good, you know it's because there's somebody behind the scenes who's doing all the work, don't you? You do know that. And Mel, in fact, Mel sent me an email to make sure I'm sending love to everyone, Melvin Hart, who's been so involved in New Horizons over the years. And he would say, and said to me himself, he was always able to look really good because of this woman. Because she was doing the work behind the scenes. And here she is now, in the heading up the role. Can I say that out loud? Oh, it's turned your mic off.
Yes, you are allowed to say that out loud.
So Lisa Little, Head of Special Events for the Salvation Army UK team. How long have you been in that role?
Officially, only since second week in July, so how many weeks that is.
And that's at THQ?
Yes.
Are you telling me that you got the job just at Boundless?
Pretty much just after is when I heard, so I didn't know at Boundless what was happening.
The special events team was so involved in Boundless. Anybody get involved by going or watching on live stream?
Yeah.
Fab, didn't they do good? Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for that. So if you weren't here, you'd be at THQ.
I would, yes.
Yeah? Do you enjoy that?
I do, yes. It's a nice place to work.
It is, isn't it? When anyone sees me, they say to me, like I've just got a terminal illness, how is it? How is it on THQ? And I always have to say, it's fine, actually, I really like it. And they always say, no, how is it really? And sometimes I feel I have to say, oh, I never know. I really think for me, it's a real privilege being on THQ. It's nothing I ever wanted to do. I'm a corps officer at heart, but I love being there. And if I'm bored, I go and chat with Lisa or Nick. Makes your day, doesn't it, Nick? He generally puts his head down and ignores me. He writes anything on the keyboard to pretend I'm not there, but I know. So, Lisa, who's missing you this week?
My husband and my little girl, who I've just spoken to, and she's on form today.
She's on form. She had a bit of a tummy pain the other night because Mummy was away.
Yeah, I think it was probably just playing up, but a bit for attention, but she's good today. She's been swimming, so she's fine.
Cool. Now, Lisa, your husband does what? Can you tell us?
Of course.
Or would you have to kill us?
No, I can tell you. He is a percussionist in the band of Her Majesty's Coldstream Guards. Okay.
So when we were saying the other day that when Lisa's planning childcare, like if anything major happened in the country, like the Queen passed away, or anything like that, Glenn's just on duty. Like if at any moment's notice he could be whisked off. And of course I have a vested interest in Glenn because he was my junior soldier at Felixstowe. I think I probably babysat him a bit. I know, it really makes me feel old, but that's okay. Made him a junior soldier, that's my claim to fame. So that's what you'll be doing. And where do you live and worship?
We live in Twickenham, and because my husband's in the forces, we're actually based at one of the military bases there. But it's quite nice, we don't live behind all the barbed wire and stuff like that. We just live in a private street next to it, which is lovely. And we know lots of our neighbours. There's a real nice community feel where we live, which is lovely. So that's in Twickenham. And we are right next to the rugby stadium, so when September, October hits, we don't know whether we can get in and out of our house, we don't know what's going on, but it will be a great atmosphere because of the Rugby World Cup, for those who don't know.
Yeah. Do you enjoy rugby?
No.
Okay. Can you see the pitch from anywhere in your house?
We can't see into the pitch, but
you can hear it.
It's basically from where Cammy is at the back is where I'm stood in my kitchen and Cammy is at the stadium.
No.
We're pretty much that close.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, good stuff. What do you do when you're not looking after... Well, obviously you've got a little girl, so that's 23 hours of a day. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you do? What's the real Lisa? What would you be doing if you had a spare hour in the day?
Shopping, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Bit of a jewellery girl, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, I do like my labels, which is... It's not always a good thing, but...
You can do that. Look, those nice t-shirts at the back, New Horizons. What they're going for?
Yeah, they're all branded.
Fiver, yeah.
Fiver, yeah. Yeah, there's not much time for shopping with a small child because she doesn't like it. So if I did have an hour to myself, it would probably be shopping and coffee.
Yes.
That would be my dream.
And where, are you involved in the Salvation Army normally? Is that your church?
Yes, I go to Regent Hall in the centre of London. So it's a bit of a commute in, but we're within commuting distance, so it's great.
But at the moment there's a lot of folk your age there, aren't there?
Yes, yeah, there's lots of young families, there's lots of children, there's lots of all ages actually, and there's lots of people who are regular attenders, and then there's lots of people who pop in whenever they're in London. So we get a mixture of people. We get people from overseas, obviously who are on holiday, they just pop in and say hi, and it's lovely. And it's just nice to get to know a different mix of people. So they're not necessarily regulars a week, but they regularly pop in and see us, which is great.
How many of you have been to the Regent Hall in London? We call it the no, you've been where? You went in the entrance.
Let us know next
Well, just walk another 5 paces and you're in. You couldn't, the doors were shut. Well, don't let that stop you. Come in. Yeah, that's excellent. And it's lovely, I think. It's interesting for me that Lisa's here as the head of a team, and her team are here with her, which is lovely. Look, they're all just listening. They're waiting to hear what you're going to say. Let's thank these guys, because you would know how much work goes into a week such as this, and we're grateful to you. So for Lisa, for Matt, for Paul, and for Camille. Now, Lisa's going to dance for us, aren't you?
No, sorry.
She is the least flappable person that I know. I've sat when we've been organising things. Everything's going, and she's just, yes, okay. I'll just make it so that wasn't even going to flap up. I have a few questions before we pass on to Nick.
Okay.
Your questions are badminton or tennis?
Badminton.
Oh, cinema, theatre?
Ooh.
That's a hard one when you live in London.
Theatre.
Theatre. Cat or dog?
Cat.
She thought about that.
I did.
Flowers or chocolates?
Flowers.
And cooked breakfast or continental? It's a hard one, isn't it?
Cooked. I'm going to go cooked.
Yeah, okay. So back to the more significant things. What's God been doing lately for Lisa?
Well, I have to mention Boundless.
Right.
It was such an experience for us from beginning to end. So before it came on most people's radar, there'd already been years and years of planning going into it. And we were joined in our team by one of the Boundless 8, who are one of 8 interns that were brought to the UK to work in London for a year to help out on Boundless. And the thing that struck me is how we're spread out. I mean, throughout Congress you would have seen all different nationalities. People have come from here, there and everywhere. People of all different abilities, people of all different financial wealth.
Backgrounds,
good or bad. And everyone came together in one place, and Jodie, who was working with us, she's from the States, and getting to know Jodie over the year, we had so many mutual friends, and at Congress we'd wandered around together and we'd both go, oh, lovely to see you, and realise we were talking to the same person. And it's this whole sort of community, the whole bringing the army together feel, and there was a real presence of God in everything I felt, and even from our stuff that was behind the scenes, everyone was still, for most of the time, really cheering, really helpful and really happy to be there. So that was wonderful, and it was a real kind of special time that we probably won't see again in that scale, definitely.
And was it you, just you, or was it the team that moved into a porter cabin at the O2?
We all lived in a kind of a tin can for the week.
How amazing is that? There was how many people? It was about 30 in the
30 in total. It was the crew, it was the team that were basically working 24/7.
The Boundless Village, and they went and lived in there. And I saw Glenn, and he said, I'm sorry to say, he couldn't quite get used to that.
It was really good because you could roll out of bed 2 minutes before you needed to be where you were. It was very well appointed. You had a bit of everything you needed, but a week was long enough, I'd say.
Yeah, not for her husband, can I say?
Well, he's welcome to it. He can go back if he wants to.
That's great. Lisa, thank you for all that you do. What's your dream for special events over this next couple of months? I hadn't primed you with that, but what all of your team are all sitting up. What sort of things? I mean, we've put it out there about the New Horizons, and a lot of us are very sad, and a lot of you have spoken to me. All we can do is ask Lisa to keep putting that back, and it may be that my dream would be it would morph into something different. We have WAGs, which is fab, which happens here in June. I front that. It's a women's weekend. Sorry about that. Women and God. I know it sounds very silly. That was just the worst name I could come up with, and everyone in the team said it's a great idea. So that was that. And there are a number of things that happen throughout the year, and maybe we can voice in, rather than being down about it, we voice into something positive, because a lot of folk have said, actually, this is significant and this is something we really enjoy. And we're hearing that, so it's just letting you know that we feel we'll miss it and what else might happen. Who knows? You know, it's time of opportunity. So what else is there coming up in the next little while?
We are already busy with the annual events that we have going on. We've got loads of conferences and the carol concert in December. There's officers' councils, there's all these things. So we're constantly busy. People said to us after Boundless, oh, you must have loads of time on your hands now. We've got a little bit more time than we had, but we're not putting our feet up. We've got loads of things to do. So I hope it continues and we keep getting interesting events, because no two events are the same. So it's lovely to have such a variety in what we do. So.
Well, thank you, Lisa. On behalf of the New Horizoners that are here, we're going to give you a round of applause and thank you for your time. Nick by suggesting that we hear from Nick. Nick speaks very beautifully anyway, but he does speak especially beautifully at the piano. So I'm going to ask him to play first. Is that okay, or does that throw you? Now, I said he could play whatever he wanted. Later on in the week, he'll play at sing-alongs, do some of the music stuff that he does. Music stuff, I meant tunes. But he's going to play you a real piece. And he said, do you want it to be a bright piece or a sad piece? And I said, we really don't mind. I was a bit scared to request. So this is dependent on how he's feeling. So ladies and gentlemen, hands together. Nick King.
It's not a sad piece.
Oh.
It's not a fast piece.
Oh.
It's a lovely tune that I've really come to be challenged about. One of a beautiful tune I really associate with being a musician, focus on music and melodies and things like that. The tune is, you may well know it, called Trusting God, and it uses the words of this chorus, which have been a real challenge to me over the last couple of years. And the refrain says this: by the love that never ceased to hold me, by the blood which thou didst shed for me, while thy presence and thy power enfold me, I renew my covenant with thee. This is Trusting God.
amazing, wasn't it? Just sometimes I think I can play the piano like that, and then you realise that you've not got a home, don't you? Nick, did you do that as you went, or is that something you've arranged before? Mike's not on, but it is now.
It's something that I've played before, but I'll be honest, each time it's different.
It was trusting God in every key. And it was particularly for piano, because if you tried singing, you really couldn't.
And you wouldn't be able to sing.
That was
You have to ruin something nice, don't you?
I'm sorry, Nick. That was just amazing. You are so gifted. Where did you learn to play?
I'm not too sure, but I learned at home. My granddad is an officer, retired officer, Major Alfred Gurr. Some of you may know him. And I picked up the piano kind of from him, had lessons roughly from my mum for a couple of weeks.
Never good, is it, with your mother?
It's not great.
Your mother always wants to hurt your fingers when they don't go in the right place.
I think it's until she realised that actually she can't do it, and I should get some lessons. So yeah, that was the start of it.
So how old were you?
7.
Right.
Yeah, about 7.
And did you have the gift? Did you know you could do it?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. I think it wasn't until my kind of 11, 12, 13 when I started really doing some accompaniment at church and a bit of worship, and I thought, do you know what, I can retain music quite easily in terms of things being thrown at you. I think, oh, I can remember that.
Yeah.
So it was from then on just developing and using that skill and that talent. So.
Did you do that into degree standard? Is that what you did?
I did, yes. I did a total of 5 years in Canterbury Christchurch University. So I did my degree, and then I did a master's over 2 years, part-time. I did it over part-time because I thought it's the same amount of money. I thought, I can get double the amount of lessons if I do it over 2 years. So I did that.
It worked.
It did.
It worked. That's amazing. So where do you play?
Oh dear. I play here.
Yeah.
I play locally every week. I accompany the songsters, deputy songster leader, but do a lot of playing at the core in the worship group. I play at work as part of my job.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Every now and again you go down to the music department, they're just playing piano. I don't think that's work, is it? I don't suddenly whip out a violin, do I?
Thank goodness for that.
I might take my harmonica in. Yeah.
So I play at core, play at local level, play whenever I can, really.
And you were you? That made no sense. That was Yoda speak, wasn't it? You played at the Congress, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And in the O2?
Yes, I was part of a band called Second Mile. I still am, actually, I think.
It was last week.
That were asked to do the youth venue in Boundless. So we did that, and then on the Saturday night we were used in the main session.
Was it amazing?
It was great.
Would it feature in your top 5 things?
Definitely.
What are the other 4?
This one?
There's a clue on the screen. Is that not your wedding day?
No, that's not my wedding day.
Oh, no!
That's someone else's wedding day.
Highlight of his life was in someone else's wedding day. That was a blow.
No, it was I did play at my own wedding, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I surprised my wife by writing her a song, and I sang it to her at her wedding.
Is it in your head?
You're not hearing it.
Oh!
I know where that's going.
Not even if we asked really nicely.
You know.
Who reckons I can grind him down this week?
By the end of this
Maybe.
Oh, really? Nick, she had no idea.
No, she had no idea.
And did you play at the wedding or at the reception?
I played in the service, at the wedding.
Wow, and you just sang our song?
I did. I was a bit nervous, I'll be honest.
Sure you were. I love you, do-be-do.
How did you know it?
I'm sorry, I spoilt that moment as well. So, Nick, before we go on to some... okay, so walk, jog or run?
Walk.
That's not fun, I thought you were a jogger.
Oh, I can't stand it.
Okay. Radio 2 or Classic FM?
Classic FM.
Yeah. Cinema or... you've seen his wife, I know where we're going with this. Cinema or DVD and takeaway at home? He's going to say cinema, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What was the last thing you saw at the movies?
Inside Out.
How fabulous is that? You must go and see Inside Out. It's a Pixar movie. They do the animated stuff for Disney, but don't be fooled into thinking it's a children's movie.
No,
it's just amazing. I mean, I often used to let people at the call just take my children to the movie. Just sometimes you needed kids, but you don't. And I did see on Facebook that the TC went and saw it this week. Yeah, he put something very, holy and godly, and I just want to say it was just a good movie. But what a fabulous film. Sorry, Inside Out. Is that because I told you to go and see it? Or?
It was.
That was my prayers! That's amazing. An influence for good. And a really significant, two significance, salt and vinegar or cheese and onion.
Salt and vinegar.
Yeah. And tongs or straighteners.
That's not funny, Val.
I thought that was quite funny. Nick, whose absolute gift is his hands. I'll tell him about another injury he's just had. But there was a picture on Facebook. You picked up your wife's hair straighteners.
Not quite. Nearly. My wife was getting ready in our little room. I was looking after our niece and nephew. I was messing around with the shaver, trying to scare them, which worked.
Just a minute. Okay, we're just getting this in our head. All of a sudden, I used to feel really sorry for you, and now serves you right. So you were scaring your niece and nephew with your shaver.
Yeah. So and then my wife gets ready on the floor. There's a floor-length mirror. She was getting ready, doing her hair. She put her straighteners down. I was messing around and leant back and put my weight on them.
Honestly, there is a terrible gash right along Nick's hand.
Yeah.
Do they have to do anything, or is it actually going to be okay, or do they have to do grafting or anything?
No, fortunately enough, it's only a second degree burn. It's not a third.
It looked awful.
It did look. It's a lot better now than it was. I was at one point thinking, oh dear, am I going to be able to play this week?
We would have had him play with one hand, wouldn't we, Fred? Yeah. We would have been happy with the left hand. We'd have no idea what we were singing, but we would have just gone with it. And you hurt your hands a couple of weeks before.
I did, yeah.
What happened there, Nick?
I decided to do a challenge because I was heavily involved with the new piano tune book coming out. I decided it would be a good idea to do a sponsored playthrough the whole book twice.
How many songs?
There's 958.
Okay. I thought it was up to the 1,000. Did you not do the choruses?
There's no chorus section.
Okay.
There's 1,000 more songs, but obviously the tunes is 958.
Right. Yes, with you. Right.
So I decided to do that. Asked the corps to kind of borrow the hall, that kind of thing. I set it up in a cafe style, and people just came and listened and did it till pretty late, and took all weekend. I started Friday night, finished Sunday evening, so it took a while. But I did a bit of a repetitive strain injury in both wrists.
But we're all thinking that's a great idea. So how many hours?
It was about 25 hours worth of playing.
And this was raising money for?
It was raising money for mainly our community work in the church, in the core that we are.
Sittingbourne?
Yeah.
How much did you raise?
Just over £1,500.
Okay. But I thought, and I don't normally do this, but I did think, actually, to my New Horizons friends, and Nick didn't ask me to, but I thought if any of you do want to sponsor him in retrospect, I mean, he could do another 25 hours. No. He's already done it, and it was awful because we were desperately wanting to go down. We were trying to juggle diaries and couldn't go, so we sponsored him. But you'd be happy to receive late sponsors, wouldn't you, for that? So that's for the community work at Sittingbourne. We're all involved in different ways. But when Nick gives of himself, as he does in a week like this, I'm just putting that out there. So if anybody wants to slip in money and say that it's for that, so it's not for ice creams, it's not for Derek, it is for Sittingbourne Salvation Army. Either that, or we could say to it, they could give it to Camé. That would make it easier, wouldn't it?
Of course, yeah.
So Camé's at the back. Give us a wave, Camé. And if anybody does want to sponsor me in retrospect, I don't mean hundreds. I mean, they could just come to me for any reason. But if you want to put a couple of pounds, and if you give it to Camé, we'll see what we can raise towards that. Because I think, having had repetitive strain injury in his wrist, and although I felt sorry about the injury, but now he was scaring children with his razor, I think, good on you, hair straighteners. So, who's missing you this week, apart from everyone in the music department?
Of course. I would have to say my wife.
Yeah.
Though she has just started back at school. She's a primary school teacher today, and she has 30 very scared 4- and 5-year-olds coming. So I actually don't think she's got time to miss me.
Oh, so she's back.
Yeah.
And you're both members of the Salvation Army?
That's right, yes.
Is that how did you meet? Oh, I can ask him anything!
This is a good little story. I have a couple of friends of mine that have just become officers, and they're down in Hythe. They've been there for the last year or so. But Berenice used to come to Sittingbourne, and she went to school with my wife, Emily, and invited her, of all things, to a YP band practice, because Emily plays the trombone. She hasn't touched it for about 5 to 6 years now, but at that point she came in and came through the service, and I thought, she's a bit of all right.
In a Christian language, that's the Lord led her onto his heart.
That's right. So she got saved and became a singer-songwriter.
So serious? I'm sorry, so she wasn't saved when she came?
No.
Oh, that is I know it's worth a round of applause, isn't it? That's really good. That's a really lovely story. So she just came to band practice.
Flirt to convert was my motto.
Flirt to convert. There's a motto for the week. Save to serve, flirt to convert. It's going to be one of those weeks. That's great. Oh, look, that's a really good story. So you got married when?
Got married on the 27th of July 2013, so just over 2 years.
Excellent. Good stuff. Is there anything anybody else wants to ask Nick? Nick, Gary or Lisa? Let's go around with a microphone. There's one that's vulnerable, isn't there? Any questions for anybody? You can ask something quite personal if you want. Shoe size? Oh, there's a couple of questions here. Thanks for being halfway around the hall.
Can you tell us? Oh, sorry.
You right, Derek?
Can you tell us why the Founders song isn't number 1 in the song?
Yeah, good question. Why isn't Mr. King? Why isn't the Founders
blame
song
Derek.
number 1?
Basically, because it did used to be, didn't it? It wasn't in the 86 version, but it was in the 50. Basically, because it's a metrical song, so it needs to be fitting with around other songs that have the same tune but different words. So that's where it makes the most sense to put it in there.
It used to be, because it was the Founders song, that it was number 1, and then when we went into the different sections and things, it made sense for it to be. Now, who remembers what number this Founders song has been over the years? 167, well done. What was it in the last one? I've got 298 in my head. Could be, yeah. I don't know what it is now. All I know is 666 is hundreds and thousands. Is that terrible? Yeah. So, right, well, thank you for that, Nick. We blame you totally. Morvin, a question from you. Not a hard one, please.
Lisa.
Oh!
I think most of us would agree that Boundless was fantastic, but from your point of view, could you tell us about the response that we, as a Salvation, we had from the O2 point about the whole thing?
Yeah,
because
good question.
as far as I'm aware, they never had anything like that at the O2. So what was the O2 response to it?
That's a good question.
This is about the Congress that we had in London. The International Salvation Army took over the O2 Stadium for 5 days. Our team got sucked in to do all the work. But so what was the O2 response to that? Thanks, Lisa.
So we learnt during the planning that the Boundless Congress, because it ran for 5 consecutive days, and we used pretty much every venue they offer there, bar one, I think.
And we built a theatre, didn't we?
And we built more, so it was like, it's not big enough, we need more. So it was the biggest event ever at the O2.
Wow.
So that takes into consideration we used every venue. Most people who go there, they do a concert in the O2. They might stay for a couple of weeks if they're like tennis, ATP tennis, that stays for a long time. You might have a touring band that go and stay for a couple of nights, but they just use the arena, that's it. We used the theatre, we used the Boundless Experience area, we used all sorts.
Cinemas.
The cinema screens, we hired some of those out, so we were everywhere and you could not move for Salvationists. And during the week, the staff at the O2 were brilliant. And for those of you who are there, you'll know that they did the pin trading thing. So everyone could buy pin badges and you could swap with people. People brought them from their country, their territory, their division, they created their own. So there was a real mix of these badges going around. And we had some badges to give out. and there were some security staff who were letting us in and out of our camp bounders area, and they could not be more excited that we gave them this badge. And then it sort of snowballed from there. So they had one badge, and then they kept going, oh, you've got that one. Oh, I've seen that. Well, that's a special one. They told me that was special. And they were asking questions, where are you from? And is it all Salvation Army? And what does this mean on the shoulder? That looks different to that man's, and they've got that one. And all these questions that were coming up. So a lot of the O2 staff really learnt a lot about the army. So if we did nothing else, they've learnt a lot about what we do, and that can't be a bad thing.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Anybody else? One more. Oh my word, there's lots. Okay, I'm going here first because she put her hand up quicker and smarter.
Why wasn't it on the television?
Why wasn't it on the television?
Well,
hello, I was on the television.
they did have, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Communications, actually, you can ask this.
Well, can we-
They're just
I'll answer this one.
verifying the untruth.
Yeah, so part of my role at Boundless was the external communications of it, so the social media and that kind of thing. And we used, rather than get onto television networks, because they really weren't interested,
Yeah.
although we did try and say to the BBC, this is big news, but they felt that it wasn't really. I think back in the day it might have been, but nowadays it's not quite. So what we did, we used one of the what do you call them, the media departments in the USA Western Territory, and they kind of made a television studio and had live shows and interviews and all that kind of thing, and we put it out on YouTube. So every night, every day, there was something that went out live on YouTube rather than television. So we got a... No, that's correct. If you don't watch YouTube, you didn't see it.
Which is true.
But there was about 30 million people that did see it.
Yeah.
Which was...
And sadly, well, not sadly, but it's the way things are today, actually. That's how things happen. If you want to get news out there, it goes through other avenues of social media. There are DVDs available now, though, and SBS have got a lot with them of the actual programmes.
Yeah.
I will sign anybody's programme, because I was working in that team. I did after shows, or I can just talk to you. It doesn't even need to be a television. So there are lots of good things were happening.
Yeah. And all the shows are still online on YouTube. If you manage to get onto YouTube, still there.
It's a great the studio there. The Americans are amazing, and the best thing for me is they did your hair and makeup. I know it doesn't mean a lot to many of you, but to some of us women, that was really good. So that was Jane. Same question. Yeah, it is really hard, and I know we're all going, wow, 16,000 Salvationists in one place, but when you recognise that other faiths and other organisations pull together those things, what's huge news for us wasn't groundbreaking for the BBC, and we always knew a lot would be dependent on what was happening. So I was booked to go to do a chat with Chris Evans on Radio 2, which was great. And then I ended up pre-recording that the day before, and I might or might not get called back. And what you don't actually want is you don't want there to be bad news, which means you don't get on. But that's what happens. So when other news takes over, that's how things are. I was amazed that we got £5 coins printed though. Yeah. Did anyone get one of those? Yeah. Did minted, not printed. Yeah. But did anyone get a gold one or a silver one? Did you get the real one? Just a moment.
I got a silver one as a present from my friend, and he brought me St James's one a while back because his wife comes to church to over 60s in Home League with me. We've been friends for 30 odd years, and the only thing I was sad about is I read the whole thing on the paperwork, and the only thing about church was SNS.
Really?
There was everything else about the Salvation Army, but not that we are a church first.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? When folk publicise stuff for you, they talk about the social rather than the core aspect. We'll have some more questions later if we have time. In the meantime, Nick and Anna, if you can change places, that would be great. I hope neither of you's made a mess of your seat. That will be fine. Anna, welcome back. Welcome back to New Horizons. How many years have you been missing?
I've been missing 4 years, but I've never been here before.
No, you've never been to. No, there's only second year here,
just
isn't there?
Butlands.
Yes. Hi.
I've really missed it.
So what's been happening in your life over those 4 years?
Well, I'm not married yet. In fact, I haven't got a fella yet. I just for those that are interested in this, I've been on a couple of dates.
I bet you haven't had a date with Cliff, have you?
No, actually, or Derek. I can do
Derek.
that.
I would hope not with Derek.
Sorry, not with Derek. But nothing yet. I'm still waiting for the one.
He's coming.
So, I'm
I can hear the charger as we speak. I can hear the horse clip-clopping up the...
I don't like horses.
No.
Yeah, so I haven't found a fella yet, but been working hard. I'm still...
What do you do?
I am a musician.
Right.
And that involves a bit of teaching, kind of during the day.
Paul, you picture. I know you're obviously just blown away by her presence, but we would like a picture of her for the hard of seeing.
That's me, with my new Claire's accessories, earrings.
Scrub up well, don't you?
And actually, there's a lot of airbrush in that picture. They had to do a lot to it because I was looking wrecked that day.
Chasing them with a shaver. I'm told by Nick it works.
Yes, I should try that. I think I'd get sacked.
Come here and learn.
Abuse.
I'm going to do that as I come up behind you.
Yes.
I'm just going to keep going. Why am I using the mic when I've got one around my neck? That was stupid, wasn't it?
Instead of giving them a merit mark, you can kind of give them a grade 0 at the end or something like that. Yeah, that'd be lovely.
You're glad to be back though?
Really glad. I have missed it because for me this is home and you know there's a lot of memories here.
Are they good shows this week?
Good shows. I'm really out of practice. Did it show in the rehearsal? You've got a treat tonight and I apologise.
Don't tell us too much, but tonight is what?
It's Cinderella and I've had to hide my script in very unusual places.
Oh dear.
Because I have not got a clue. And I am really out of practice with it because it's kind of, I just don't do the whole learning lines thing
anymore. Tell us some bits. Chinese or Indian? Takeaway.
Indian gives me the number 2s. So I've got to say Chinese.
Are you allowed to say?
I was going to say the trots, but I thought that probably wasn't appropriate.
You do. Do you know when you're in the middle of an interview? You're in the middle of an interview and you think, do you know what, if this was being televised, you really would have cut that bit.
It's me idea.
Let me change that question right now.
Sorry, Chinese then. Chinese is the answer.
That's fine. Summer or winter?
Oh, summer, because I've just come back from Turkey, lovely weather, and I love the heat. I can't stand being cold, so like this week in the bedrooms, I'm just like, I'm going to bed in my hoodie, literally. Do you know what I mean? I'm out there, 5 layers on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can't believe I asked.
He said that's why I need a fella.
No,
I can't believe it!
Right, back to my question.
Sorry, Val. This is like a loose women, isn't it? It's great.
I can't believe I put this down, but is this sewing or knitting? I can't believe
I'm not very domesticated. I would probably say knitting, because I can
do that
think a few and drop a few things,
And One Direction or Little Mix?
Oh gosh. Probably One
They're pop groups.
Do you know what? I've just spent £150 on one ticket for my niece to go and see One Direction, and they've split up, or they are splitting up. Yeah.
One of them's gone. Although that's the final, isn't it?
They're saying it's the final countdown.
Sorry, who's heckling? Are they splitting up?
Yeah, up to now,
I thought they were just having a break. Yeah.
A break, but they're going to be together in the future.
And I blame Zayn myself. How hit hot and happening am I?
You're really with it, aren't you?
Do you blame Zayn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Derek in One Direction. Now there's a thought, isn't it?
So you've had a great summer. I'm going to quicken yours because we want to hear from you before we go to
Yes. Okay. Yes. I've had a really good summer. Started my summer with summer school, West Midlands. I'm serving on the team there, which was fab. And then I went to Turkey. Had a bit of time with my friends. I took 10 of us went to Turkey.
That sounds like a song. 10 of us went to Turkey, we took on a toast.
Could you arrange this for us this week? Yeah, slap the thigh, off we go.
Sorry.
No, it was brilliant. 10 of us partying away in Turkey. It was epic.
Excellent.
And then I've come here, literally, about 5 days after getting back from Turks. I'm here.
Well done, well
so
done.
It's just what I needed. This summer was just what I needed.
So where was God in all of that?
Oh my gosh, he was everywhere. That's the third verse. God's really helped me this summer to kind of rediscover who I am. And I've been really struggling with my confidence and kind of what I'm meant to be doing and who I am and stuff. And he's just really put me back on track, which is fab.
Isn't he great?
He's really good like that, isn't he? You know, just when you're struggling, it's like you compare yourself to everybody and you want to be someone else, accept yourself, and you know, it's actually just be comfortable with who you are and who I've created you to be. And so I've been kind of doing all that this summer and trying to get back on track. And you know, I am a bit nutty and I should just kind of embrace that.
Embrace.
Do you know
the
what I
nut,
mean?
you say, don't we?
Embrace the nut. And just craziness and just living life a bit. So that's kind of what I've been doing and just a bit of time for me, because he's been saying, you know, you do a lot, Anna, and I do. I burn the candle at both ends. And it's time now for a bit of kind of you time, and that's where the turkey thing came in.
And I think that's sometimes a problem when you're on your own as well, because I think people expect you to do all the running around, and also because because you've not got someone at home that you've got to be.
I've got Alan next door, the neighbour.
Alan the neighbour.
Big Al. He told me my drains were blocked the other day, so he helped me deblock them.
Your life is full.
Big Al.
Your life is full. You're back on track with God, and you've got a next door neighbour that can unblock your drains.
Do you know what I mean?
What more do you need?
Hallelujah to that. I'll show you a picture of Big Al a different day. When I do my epilogue tomorrow, I'll show you a picture of him.
We're going to wait with bated breath.
He's a beautiful man. He comes out of a string vest quite often.
Oh no. It's like uncomfortable visual. Anna, are you going to play for us?
I am. Really quick. I'll do double speed. So this, I'm going through a bit of change at the moment. I've made quite a few big decisions, but I know they're the right decisions. And it does no regrets. It's another song. And I've basically sacked off a lot of my teaching, which I've just talked about. And this is totally by faith. And I've just decided to jack all in and do something that I really love. And so I am doing a lot more playing now. There's possibilities I'm going on tour next year with quite a well-known show. I can't say which one it is, but you'll see it all on Facebook soon. So I've just decided to do something I love, because life's too short in it to be like stuck in a job you don't really enjoy and stuff. So you don't feel very fulfilled in. So I'm going to be doing more playing. So this is a song that's entitled actually New Beginnings, because that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just going for it.
Do it.
Taking that step of faith. And I know God will be there, 100% behind me, and He'll provide me if I'm a bit short on money one kind of month, because I've sacked a normal teaching, but this is really what I feel kind of God's wanting me to do.
Beautiful.
So that's kind of where we're at, and so I'm going to play it really quickly, double speed, so we can go and have our sticky toffee pudding.
Ladies and gentlemen,
thank you. Love you.
And Anna Lamp. I always want to call her Anna Lamp Blue, because I think that's a lot posher.
There's so many variations of
Don't you?
my name.
Lamp Blue, Miss Lamp Blue and her saxophone. One page of her solo.
That's page one, I need that. We haven't rehearsed this. This is going to be nice, isn't it, for us?
I don't know.
You don't know how it goes? Just a bit cheesy. Penny cheese.
Did you hear that? Nick said he doesn't know how it goes, so Anna said just think cheesy. Who knows what we're going to get in this guest show today? great hour, hasn't it? Just sitting back, enjoying myself. You're only 2 minutes late for dinner, don't worry, there'll be a lot left. Who reckons Anna should play that tonight at the sing-along? I reckon so. Yeah, we'll have a little bit of Anna tonight. What about Gary? Are you there tonight, Gary? Yeah, maybe get a bit of Gary tonight? Yeah? What about Lisa dancing? Yeah? Have a lovely, lovely dinner together. Pantomime at 6:30 and then a great evening with Sarah Grace at 7:30. Sing along after that. Enjoy the rest of this little time and see you this evening. Thank you for coming to my show. It's been great to have you.